Each boxer enters the ring with only one goal: to win. And ideally, the best way to do this is to knock out his opponent in front of millions of spectators. But when it comes to the referee's notes, one has to rely on the professionalism of the referees who evaluate the fight. And unfortunately, quite often after the fight, the fans are forced to discuss not the performance of the boxers, but the decision of the judges. Some of them are quite controversial, while others simply contradict common sense. Today, we recall the most scandalous decisions in the history of professional boxing that have stood the test of time. Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya. It was one of the most anticipated fights in history. Two undefeated boxers, IBF world champion, aggressive puncher Felix Trinidad, and WBC world champion, the best boxer regardless of the weight category, Oscar De La Hoya. The chances of both athletes were regarded as approximately equal.
Willing to let his hands go, and then De La Hoya.
Big shoulder whip.
Hard right hand by De La Hoya. Tie rate, 6 out of 19 to 7 out of 34.
Gap, and it gets right back into the station again. Good left hook.
End of his own. Straight right hand lands for De La Hoya. And his jab up the middle. And lands a left hook.
So much at stake and so much respect between fighters.
De La Hoya jabbing back. Uppercut lands.
Is going to get the best of it. You don't want it to turn.
In this fight, Trinidad failed to impose his traditional pressure on the opponent. In the first half of the fight, he only occasionally delivered his single shots to the target.
One of the most conditioned fighters.
The gun to fly, round 4. De La Hoya double jab. But no De La Hoya flirt.
The game is starting to get on for Trinidad. After the left to the body, he goes to his own left to the head. Trinidad, so that Del
Start reaching into Trinidad's territory.
To his left. Hard right hand by De La Hoya. Match. Hard right hand.
Oscar dominated the fight with his speed, versatility, and accuracy, successfully landing multi-hit combinations time after time.
That left jab has done all the damage.
Sharp right hand by De La Hoya was just a tiny bit short.
Doesn't happen.
Right lands flush. And another right hand with 2 right hands. De La Hoya great right. And another hit. Left hook to the body. Should be a fatal mistake.
right there.
Stand right.
Otherwise, he'll be out of it.
He can't keep fighting this way.
Punch.
But it's one punch in a round in which De La Hoya.
However, after the 8th round, De La Hoya apparently decided that victory was not going anywhere from him and began to slow down the fight, starting to almost run away from Felix, almost forgetting about the attack.
See it, a little inch, and he's throwing at it.
Oscar punch combination, stepping forward. Trinidad only one. It was against Anthony Stevens. Trinidad comes back with a straight right.
It'd be a miracle if he had
This is not an edifying moment.
Trinidad took advantage of this and won the championship rounds outright. It is difficult to explain why Oscar decided to do this, but his victory was almost certain. He was too good for most of the rounds. However, the judges were of a different opinion. One counted the draw, 1-1-4 to 1-1-4, and the other 2 gave the victory to Trinidad. At the same time, according to the computer count of punches, De La Hoya landed 263 accurate punches, while Trinidad only 166. Of course, Oscar did not agree with this decision, and Felix said that he was ready to give revenge to his rival. However, the second match never took place. Floyd Mayweather, Jose Luis Castillo. In this fight, Floyd Mayweather made his lightweight debut against WBC world champion Jose Luis Castillo.
light heavyweights in the whole big.
Going only 39 punches. He had the edge, and there Mayweather thinks he has Castillo hurt. And now a butt, and Floyd Mayweather Mayweather.
How you change things with a boxer. Get out there and do something that they have.
Mosley was cut over the eye when he was
Turned from southpaw, then again. Still was
Mayweather.
able. Go ahead. Still was able.
Floyd started the fight better, but over the course of several rounds, Jose imposed his attacking style of fighting on the American, forced him to play by his own rules.
And you heard Roger Mayweather say, set something else up.
No, but when you go to the body, whether you... That's why the corner will tell you to go to the body, jab him to the body. He's really fighting this fight. And he can go to the body and
Dig a left hand to the body, and now
It's going to hit Castillo somehow.
Questionable. I thought Floyd did throw a left hook, and this guy...
cut by a butt.
In addition, Castillo was great, moving, cutting corners, preventing Mayweather from his trademark maneuvers, and also hitting the body, slowing down the opponent. The champion was very good in the middle of the fight.
with a hard right hand shot to the body. Floyd still thrown upstairs.
Right now, hold him and move to the left. Evidently, he's practiced. That's when you're supposed to throw the fastball.
Castillo begins to go upstairs. And took hard right hand by Castillo.
Now,
Till the last 2 seconds.
just strength and he loses his.
There's the right hand by Mayweather. Perfect counter heel from doing the only thing he can do to win the fight, which is to drive Floyd back into the ropes.
Power shots just couldn't wear him down.
In the 10th round, Floyd seized the initiative, but the final rounds again fell to Castillo.
Jim, that caught that big Dracula. Jose Luis Castillo seemed to slow down, just like he used to.
Now pushing off, Mayweather takes a series.
Jim thinks this is a very close fight. And that
There's a brilliant left-right combination there, and another combination.
Good body punches by Castillo.
The ranks, first one to win a championship, 27-0 coming into today. Regarded himself a losing battle in Las Vegas.
The punch statistics showed that Jose outperformed Floyd in every way. He threw more punches, 203 versus 147, landed more power punches. 173 versus 66, hit more overall, and was more accurate. But all three judges decided that Mayweather had done enough to win. Perhaps this result would have caused less controversy if Floyd were then in champion status. But Mayweather that night was exactly the contender, and did not look better than the current champion. However, Mayweather did work on the mistakes, and in the second fight, he unconditionally won against Castillo. Nikolai Valuev, Evander Holyfield. In general, Nikolai Valuev's career had quite a few judging victories. The fight with the Ukrainian Taras Budenko, who looked no worse and almost knocked him out in the 12th round, with Larry Donald. When Nikolai won 3 rounds by force, and both his championship fight against John Ruiz, frankly, cannot be called convincing. But the fight with, at that time, already 46-year-old Holyfield stands apart. The legendary Evander won only 6 out of 12 fights in the new century. Before the fight with Valuev, he lost on points to another Russian Sultan Ibragimov, the WBO world champion. However, Holyfield got another title shot. Valuev was 24 centimeters taller than his opponent, and almost 45 kilograms heavier, but this did not bother the American at all.
Valuev tried by Holyfield. Yeah, that landed. Now he's inside, missing. Holyfield, all in red. There's the hook, and there's the infighting, and at his best. When he's at his best, he's a technician throwing more punches. Single shots from him, if at all. Nothing on his proactive either, but what he has done is done things like that. Picked his shots, thrown, certainly. 9-9, I don't know, that was cool. Well, it's impossible. Although maybe accurate.
Holyfield moved around the clumsy opponent throughout the fight, periodically delivering accurate series of 3 to 4 punches.
He's done just a little bit of work. And the intriguing thing is, it's the 40.
It cannot be said that evander was very active, but Valuev generally looked like he had just plowed a 30-hour shift at the mine. So the American almost easily outplayed him for almost the entire fight.
Mit Treffern von Holyfield, aber Valuev ist unbeeindruckt, sofort zurück. Valuev ist besser geworden.
The Russian did nothing at all to win, as if he did not need it. But apparently the judges were ardent admirers of the champion's talent.
Valuev ist unbeeindruckt und kommt sofort zurück.
And the intriguing thing is,
St. Petersburg.
Holyfield wasn't just robbed of the win. Evander was supposed to be the oldest world champion in history that night, and the first 5-time heavyweight champion. Shannon Briggs, George Foreman. In 1994, the legendary George Foreman knocked out Michael Moorer, and 20 years later, he again became the world champion. George said that he achieved his dream and calmly retire from boxing in case of defeat. In 1997, his last fight took place against Shannon Briggs. Foreman at the time of the fight was 48 years old and 23 years older than his opponent. Both had a powerful blow, and many believed that the aged Foreman could not withstand the bombardment from such an opponent. But everything turned out differently.
Which fighter do you think might be able to establish it? This really shows you what a specific art boxing is. I mean,
it makes him think twice about himself. Now he's slacked and punching. You see that?
Yeah, Briggs is patiently stalking Briggs. A left.
been landing the jab at about a 70% clip.
One reason he's not throwing that right hand is because he can't see a target. George,
This sport is easy if you have a jab.
very easy if you have a jab.
The legendary veteran shocked Briggs several times, forcing him to work as number 2.
If Shannon can do that right,
Briggs can build on what he did in round 6 and mount a rally against.
use your hand speed on him. Under, when you profile him and you do all these type things, when it's the first time.
The best defense, particularly against a fighter like Foreman. And he taught you well.
That was George. He must sense asthma. I think his concern was he never raised it before.
Why Foreman chases him across the ring and lands his own right cross.
Big George dominated most of the rounds, landing 58% of his shots, which is phenomenal. However, apparently, the judges were faced with the task of escorting Foreman's grandfather into retirement, declaring Briggs the winner by the decision of the majority of the judges. George did not argue with the verdict, and indeed ended his career, taking his place among the greatest boxers in history. In fairness, it should be noted that a couple of years earlier, Foreman was also presented with a victory in an outright lost battle against Axel Schultz, so George's retirement was asking for a long time. Nevertheless, it's quite a shame that the legend was, in fact, expelled to this very pension. Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. One fight. It was the first heavyweight unification bout in years, with 3 major boxing titles on the line. The IBF and WBA, owned by Holyfield, and the WBC, owned by Lewis. Many experts agreed that the outcome of the meeting will depend not so much on the form of Lennox, but on the psychological state of his opponent, they say. If Holyfield can tune in to the Englishman in the same way as he did to Mike Tyson, the devil himself is not afraid. And if not, then the faster, stronger, and more physically fit Lewis will win. As a result, the fight went largely according to the second scenario. Lennox won the first 2 rounds without much difficulty, in which Evander was able to deliver only 8 of 24 punches to the target. Holyfield was remembered only for an episode in the 3rd minute of the fight, when Lewis fell on him during the clinch, and he, in response, grabbed the Briton by the legs and tried to throw him into the ring with a wrestling technique.
Evander Holyfield should get to that body and make him drop those hands. And Holyfield trying to tackle Lewis in the middle. And Lennox smiles at him as if to say, what the heck was that all about? You're not going to go on with me in the ring, okay? Let's keep it clean. Let him rest.
Evander stepped up in the 3rd round, in which he predicted his victory by knockout. He got his opponent several times with a right cross, and in the middle of the round, he completely squeezed in the corner, where Lennox missed several hard hooks.
Aggressive combination so far. Over the top with the right hand. Did he get into Lewis's head? Did he make Lewis fear round 3?
You know, the good thing that Evander Holyfield chose those gloves because he's planning on putting his hands on his head to block the shot.
Before the end of the round, Lewis missed a couple more heavy blows, but calmly withstood them.
For the first time in the fight, and lands again as Holyfield tries to come inside. 1 minute to go in the prophecy.
In the 4th round, he regained control of the fight, and in the 5th, he fully retaliated for an unsuccessful 3rd round. Lewis deftly evaded Holyfield's sweeping hook, landed a beautiful right straight on the American's head, turned around and pressed the opponent to the ropes, where Evander missed several uppercuts. In total, in that round, Lennox brought 43 hits to the target, Holyfield only 11.
Prophecy. Does Lewis get a chance with the right hand? Lewis, 21 of 50, trying to fulfill the prophecy. Lewis seemingly, but he stands in the corner and waits. Holyfield misses with the haymaker.
Shots. And the gloves he's using have a bigger pad right bottom picking those gloves,
Leaving Lewis with what are called the puncher's gloves.
it's like a pillow.
Holyfield landed a left hook.
At the beginning of the 6th round, the American successfully caught Lewis when he lowered his hands and struck a left-right-left combination, forcing the Briton to save himself in the clinch. Although the remaining 2 minutes passed under the control of Lennox, 2 of the 3 judges gave this round to Evander. In the 1st minute of the next round, the boxers grappled in the clinch, both collapsed on the canvas, and almost started to fight while on the floor. The referee even had to call out to both of them, "Guys, act like champions." And after the resumption of the fight, Lewis delivered a successful deuce to Holyfield's head.
Holyfield again inactive, not throwing many punches. Uppercut, uppercut. Right in the middle of the ring, Lewis misses. Goes to left hook partially blocked. Uppercut again. Now Lewis traps himself in the corner.
In the future, the course of the fight was controlled by the Briton in the penultimate 3-minute period. Evander tried to seize the initiative, but Lennox quickly managed to seize the situation again.
You're conservative now. Evander Holyfield has got 12 rounds to go. Throwing a big shot like that.
The last round was for Lewis. After the final bell, commentators immediately declared that Lennox Lewis had just become the first undisputed heavyweight champion since 1992. Lennox threw 613 punches in this fight, 348 of which hit the target, while Holyfield had 385 thrown punches and only 130 of them hit the target. No one in Madison Square Garden had any doubts about the victory of the British, except for two judges, one of whom counted a draw, and the second generally gave the victory to Holyfield. Only the third referee gave a quite adequate score in favor of Lewis, but this did not save the situation, and the fight officially ended in a draw by a separate decision of the judges. In the rematch, which took place in November 1999, Evander Holyfield looked better than in the first fight, but still a well-deserved victory by unanimous decision was won by Lennox Lewis. However, their confrontation was remembered primarily for that insane decision in the first match. It was the top 5 most scandalous decision in the history of professional boxing. If you want to see the sequel, please like and write your wishes in the comments, and we will release the second part.